Welcome back to XRP Ripple Insights channel, your go-to destination for decoding the key developments transforming Ripple, XP, and the broader blockchain financial landscape. Imagine waking up to news of escalating conflict in the Middle East, oil prices surging overnight, sanctions tightening with every headline, and global banks imposing capital controls. While this might seem like the plot of a geopolitical thriller, it's the very real backdrop against which XRP is stepping into a critical role. Tensions between Iran and Israel are not just regional, they have global implications, creating an environment of financial instability that's ripe for disruption. What we're witnessing isn't merely a political crisis, it's a seismic shift in the financial power structure. As banks tighten access and sanctions block traditional channels, institutions are scrambling to find fast, secure, and censorship-resistant alternatives. XP, long seen as a secondary player to Bitcoin and Ethereum, is rapidly gaining traction as that solution. No longer just a cryptocurrency, XRP is evolving into a geopolitical asset. As nations search for tools that allow them to transact across borders without friction or interference, XRP's real-world utility is finally being recognized. Stay with us because what's unfolding now could redefine XRP's destiny and rewrite the very architecture of global finance. The Iran-Israel conflict may be igniting in the Middle East, but the impact is radiating across the entire globe. This isn't just a local skirmish, it's a clash between major geopolitical alliances. Iran, increasingly allied with anti-Western powers like Russia and China, is directly opposing Israel, a core strategic partner of the United States and NATO-aligned nations. As the war intensifies, the collateral damage isn't just military, it's financial. Shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz, vital for global oil transit, are under threat. Oil prices spike in response, inflation ticks upward, and markets become increasingly volatile. But perhaps most significantly, Western nations are responding with sweeping sanctions aimed at cutting off Iran from global financial systems, particularly the SWIFT network. These sanctions don't just affect governments, they impact millions of civilians, corporations, and economies that rely on international trade. This is where XRP becomes critically relevant. Because it operates on a decentralized ledger, XRP enables fast, censorship-resistant transactions without dependence on traditional banks or intermediaries. In a world where centralized financial systems are weaponized, XRP emerges as a neutral lifeline, one that could help nations and corporations sidestep disruptions and maintain liquidity amidst chaos. In times of prolonged conflict and economic uncertainty, trust in long-standing institutions begins to wane. The SWIFT system, historically the backbone of global interbank transactions, has increasingly become a tool of economic warfare. Nations like Iran, Russia, and North Korea have already faced exclusion from SWIFT, severing them from the mainstream financial ecosystem. These moves, while politically strategic, come with significant global consequences. As more countries are subjected to sanctions and SWIFT-based restrictions, the reliability and neutrality of this system come into question. The result? A growing appetite for alternatives. XP, by design, does not rely on SWIFT, correspondent banks, or prolonged transaction chains. It operates on a trustless, decentralized network capable of moving large sums of money across borders in seconds, without third-party interference. In 2025, with faith in the US dollar eroding due to political polarization and mounting debt, XRP presents a compelling solution. Its utility as a bridge currency between fiat systems makes it uniquely poised to serve a new financial order, one less dependent on Western influence. Should China, India, or other major economies begin transacting oil or trade through X corridors, the global demand for XRP could skyrocket, reshaping the financial landscape as we know it. Ripple's on-demand liquidity system is more than just a convenience, it's becoming a necessity for regions navigating financial sanctions or weak banking infrastructure. ODL utilizes XRP to facilitate near-instant cross-border transfers, eliminating the need for traditional pre-funded accounts. In times of economic siege, such as those triggered by war or sanctions, this technology provides a critical alternative route for liquidity. Imagine a scenario where a sanctioned Iranian bank needs to settle a trade with a Chinese energy firm. Using XRP and Ripple's ODL network, this transaction can occur without interacting with SWIFT or Western banks, rendering sanctions less effective. This shift is more than tactical, it's transformative. As these corridors are tested out, of necessity, they also become prototypes for a parallel financial ecosystem. Already, Ripple has made inroads into underbanked markets in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia, places where legacy financial systems are unreliable or politically compromised. As the Iran-Israel conflict unfolds and sanctions ripple outward, more countries may turn to Ripple's ODL as their lifeline. This adoption isn't hypothetical, it's happening in real time. The urgency created by global instability may be the very force that pushes XRP into widespread institutional and sovereign use. As the backbone of a new financial paradigm, few resources hold as much sway over the global economy as oil. Traditionally priced and traded in US dollars through the petrodollar system, oil transactions represent a pillar of American financial dominance, but that pillar is starting to crack. Iran, one of the world's largest oil producers, is increasingly cut off from dollar-based trade due to ongoing sanctions. Simultaneously, countries like China and India, massive energy actively seeking alternatives to reduce their dependence on U.S. monetary policy. This confluence of motivations opens the door for XRP to enter the petro-trade equation. Imagine Iran selling oil to China and receiving payment in XRP through a Ripple ODL corridor. This would bypass SWIFT, eliminate currency conversion delays, and reduce exposure to dollar-based sanctions. Such a system benefits all participants while creating real, use-driven demand for XRP. If even a fraction of global oil trade shifts to XRP settlements, the impact on its value and global status would be massive. More than just a digital asset, XRP could evolve into a commodity-backed payment standard, a digital petrocurrency. The stakes are high, and the moment is ripe. As traditional mechanisms buckle under pressure, XRP may become the go-to currency for the world's most essential commodity. For years, Ripple's legal battle with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has cast a shadow over XRP's future. This lawsuit, centered on whether XRP constitutes a security, has made U.S.-based institutions hesitant to fully embrace the asset, even as global interest surged. However, 2025 marks a turning point. Legal insiders and market analysts suggest a resolution is near, either through a favorable settlement or a definitive court ruling. Such clarity would be monumental. Regulatory uncertainty has long stifled institutional investment and adoption within the U.S., even as Ripple has expanded globally. Once the legal fog lifts, American financial giants, banks, investment funds, and payment platforms will have the green light to enter the XRP ecosystem without legal ambiguity. This influx of institutional capital and usage will coincide with rising global demand stemming from geopolitical instability. Together, these forces could drive XRP to new levels of adoption, utility, and market valuation. Ripple's executives are already preparing for this moment, hinting at the rollout of new corridors, CBDC partnerships, and integrations with global payment systems. With the legal hurdle cleared and the geopolitical climate primed for disruption, XRP is not just surviving, it's on the brink of becoming foundational to the next era of global finance. As we move deeper into the digital age, central bank digital currencies, commonly known as CBDCs, are no longer theoretical. They're becoming the centerpiece of next-generation monetary systems. China is already rolling out its digital yuan, while Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa are in advanced stages of developing their own sovereign digital currencies. These initiatives are not just about modernization. They represent a strategic pivot away from Western financial hegemony, particularly from the US dollar. For BRICS nations, creating an independent, multipolar financial system is the ultimate goal. But to make this possible, these countries need a secure, scalable, and politically neutral platform to facilitate cross-border settlements. Enter the XRP ledger. XRP offers something Bitcoin and Ethereum can't: speed, compliance, readiness, and seamless interoperability. It's this trifecta that makes XRP a strong candidate to serve as the bridge for CBDC transactions. Ripple is already working behind the scenes with over 20 central banks on pilot programs, testing the feasibility of using XRP infrastructure for real-time, cross-border settlement. If a few BRICS nations choose to integrate XRP into their CBDC architecture, it could establish XRP as the de facto backbone for a non-dollar global trading system. That would be a seismic breakthrough in how nations conduct commerce, especially in a time of war, sanctions, and shifting alliances. And the signs are already there. BRICS summits increasingly focus on digital settlement strategies, alternative currency baskets, and financial sovereignty. These ambitions align closely with Ripple's vision and XRP's capabilities. With each pilot, each test corridor, and each regulatory breakthrough, XRP inches closer to becoming the connective tissue of this new financial world. It's not just a cryptocurrency anymore. For a growing number of nations, XRP could be the foundational infrastructure of economic independence. We are standing at the crossroads of history. The convergence of war, economic uncertainty, and technological transformation has set the stage for a once-in-a-generation realignment in how value moves across borders. The Iran-Israel war, escalating global sanctions, rising oil prices, and the growing distrust in U.S.-centric financial systems are not isolated trends. They are interconnected signals of deep structural change. And at the heart of this transformation is XRP, a digital asset that has gone from underdog status to becoming a central figure in the next era of finance. What once looked like an uphill legal battle for XRP is now turning into a triumphant regulatory comeback. Ripple's courtroom resilience is paying off, and with legal clarity in sight, institutional players are starting to take XRP seriously. But this rise isn't just about legality or price, it's about utility. global relevance, and timing. XRP is fast, efficient, borderless, and neutral qualities the world desperately needs right now. As BRICS nations seek financial independence, as CBDCs roll out globally, and as Western systems lose trust, XRP is stepping into a vacuum that very few digital assets are equipped to fill. This is not the same crypto market of 2017 or 2021. The conversations around XRP have evolved from speculative trading to central bank adoption, international settlement, and commodity-backed utility. Every geopolitical flare-up, every sanction, every bank that gets cut off from SWIFT only accelerates XRP's journey toward becoming the digital backbone of the world economy. And for those who've been watching from the sidelines, the window to ignore XRP is closing fast. So stay alert, stay curious, and above all stay ahead. The financial system is being rewritten in real time, and XRP is no longer a side note, it's becoming the headline.